Okay children, now we will learn about the next natural resource, that is soil. Now what is soil? Soil is a thin layer of grainy substance which covers the earth, and it is one of the most important valuable resource. It is an abiotic resource that is renewable. Now this soil determines the quality of land. It forms the basis of agriculture as it provides and supports nourishment to plants, and in turn animals and humans also get food from the plants. Now how does the soil form? It is formed by weathering. What is weathering? The breaking up and decay of exposed rocks by temperature changes or by water, rain. All these causes the rocks to break up, and it finally forms soil. Okay. Now let's go ahead and see the layers of the soil. You can see the layers are mentioned as A, B and C. So what is C? C, it is also called as horizon, A horizon, B horizon and C horizon. So let's go to C and see. What is C composed of? It's composed of weathered parent rock, and it determines the color of the soil from this parent rock. It is the big fragments of weathered rock lie in this layer, and it has little or no plant or animal life. Let's go ahead and see in B horizon. It is the subsoil is poor in humus but contain minerals washed downwards by water from the upper layer. It contains gravel, clay and sand. And what does A contain? It is a topsoil which is rich in humus and minerals, and it contains most of the nutrients of the plants. So it consists of fine silt, clay and sand. So you see the topmost layer A is the most fertile layer of the soil. Look at the diagram in your textbook on page number 13, where you can see the factors of soil formation. Now there are two main factors for soil formation which I have underlined: this parent rock and climatic factors. There are various other factors. First let us study the two main factors for soil formation. I think you have already learnt it in science. I'm just giving a brief outline of it. Parent rock. Now what is parent rock? Suppose you have black soil, that means the rock must be black in color. So the parent rock, the rock which withers away due to weathering, gives the soil its color, its texture, its chemical properties, the minerals which are present in it, and permeability, how much of water it can retain. It is got from the parent rock. Now even climate plays an important role in soil formation. In places which is very hot, yes, and weathering will take place, soil formation will be more. Rainfall also weathers the rock, so we there also we get soil formation. So the climate also determines a lot in the formation of soil. Now what are the other factors? This is the relief features. Now steep slopes are prone to soil erosion. Yes, so the layer of soil may not be thick there, but in plains it gets accumulated, so there is lot of accumulation of soil. So it a lot depends where the place is. In hilly areas you will find soil is not so thick, it's very thin layer of soil, but whereas in the plains it is very thick. Now flora and fauna and microorganisms also affect the rate of humus formation. What is flora? Plants, yes, trees, fauna and animals, and small animals. When they die and just mix with the soil, it makes the soil very rich. The humus contents will be rich, influence the rate of humus formation. And humus, you know, is provides the fertility to the soil. So even earthworms, they dig into the soil, leave their excreta there, which forms humus. Then the dead plants, they decay and get buried into the soil, also makes the soil very fertile and rich. And that last is time. Yes, so you see, soil formation takes a lot of time. It is said usually 1,000 years may pass to form 2.5 centimeters of soil. So time determines the thickness of the soil. In places where there is hot climate and too much of rainfall, yes, weathering takes faster, so soil formation will be faster there. But generally we say to form 1 inch of soil, it takes thousands of years. So we see there is lot of soil degradation, and that is why soil being so important, because it's one of the most important resource which supports plant life, animal life, and human life. So we need to conserve soil also. Now, children, soil is very vital for agricultural development of any country. And in our country, where agriculture is the mainstay of the economy, that our economy is dependent on agriculture, that means soil is an important resource for us. And let us see now what are the factors which causes degradation of soil. There are two factors: natural factors and human activities. Now, what are the natural factors which cause soil erosion? Are wind, water, glaciers, rainwash, heavy rainfall. All these are the natural factors which deplete the soil. And human activities, there are deforestation, mining, overgrazing, construction activities, then too much of use of pesticides and fertilizers, overuse of it causes degradation of soil. So we need to conserve the soil, and let us now look at the techniques that we can adopt to conserve soil. Children, some of the methods for soil conservation: first is afforestation, or planting of more trees can help in conserving the soil. Why should we plant more trees? Because the roots of the trees bind the soil and prevent it from soil erosion. And increasing plant cover by planting more trees in a row can arrest the force of wind, as well prevent washing away of the soil by water. So afforestation is the best method. But there are some more agricultural techniques adopted today. One of them is mulching. What you can see in mulching, it is covering the ground or the tree all around with straw or other organic matter, which helps to retain soil moisture, so that the soil can retain the moisture and keep the tree, doesn't allow the soil to erode. So this is one of the way. The second way that we can see is prevention of overgrazing. Animals like sheep and goat must be checked. As I told you what overgrazing does. Yes. Now we'll see the next techniques for soil conservation. Okay, children, we will see another technique for preventing soil erosion, that is called as contour ploughing. Now, ploughing here is done on mountain slopes. See, they're doing it in a circular manner, round and round across on the mountain. Can you see this one circle, another circle, third circle, fourth circle, all round the mountains? Now, this involves farming along the contour lines horizontally around a hill rather than ploughing up and down the slope. Now, what happens due to this? This reduces the flow of water and thus checks soil erosion. Another way is contour barriers. They have made like contour ploughing, same way, but they are making barriers out of it. So what do? They put stone, grass, soil, etc. and build barriers along the contour. So you can see here they are building trenches. You can see plantation being done here, and here they are building trenches. Why are they building trenches? So whatever the soil is eroded by water gets collected in these trenches and thus prevents soil erosion. Children, will see other ways of soil conservation. One is prevention of overgrazing, and we must check the grazing of animals like sheep and goats. The next one you already know is terrace farming. What happens in the terrace farming? The slopes are cut into steps and then plantation is done, and this prevents soil erosion. Okay, the next one is called as rock dams. Now what happens here? Rocks are piled up. You can see the pile of rocks there, and so this slows down the flow of water, thus preventing soil erosion. And the next one you see is the shelter belts. Now what happens in shelter belts? Yes, rows of trees are planted, especially they are planted in coastal and dry regions to check the wind movement. And once the wind blows very strongly there, so to prevent the wind from carrying away the soil. So they plant a row of trees, and this checks soil erosion. Okay children, we will see another way of soil conservation is intercropping. Now different crops are grown in alternate rows and sown at different times. So suppose I grow here onions, in the next row I will grow potatoes, but at different times, so that once one row is harvested, the other row is still there to bind the soil together and prevent it from soil erosion. This is called as intercropping. So what are the methods of soil conservation we have learned? We have learned mulching, contour barriers, rock dams, terrace farming, intercropping, counter ploughing, and shelter belts. Children, there is an activity in your book. You can see it says take 2 trays A and B of the same size, make 6 holes at the end of the tray, and then fill them with sand. Now leave one tray with empty, do not grow anything. In the other tray grow some grass, and when the grass grows a few centimeters, you tilt the tray and keep a beaker down and then pour water from top. Okay, so what do you see? What is the difference between A and B? You see A, which has no vegetation cover, soil erosion is more, whereas in B, where the vegetation is there, the soil erosion is less. So you see plants and trees bind the soil together and prevent it from getting eroded, and that is why we say afforestation is a must to prevent soil erosion.